Okay, so you may or may not have heard that GoPro has decided to cancel their drone division, their aerial division, which means no more GoPro Karma, which means that once they're done selling their existing inventory, that's it, except for the general warranty and support stuff. There won't be a Karma 2, and there won't be any of that. So in this video, I'm going to cover what GoPro said exactly, what their official statement was on this, what I think may have contributed to this that they may not have talked about, and what I think of their strategy going forward, as GoPro is actually not a profitable company. So let me start by reading their press release, which I've linked down below. So, number one, it says that GoPro is reducing its global workforce from 1,254 employees as of September 30th, 2017, to fewer than 1,000 worldwide. We'll also be reducing the CEO salary to $1, not really relevant here. And then, although Karma has reached the number 2 market position in its price band for 2017, not sure how they defined that, but we'll go with it. The product faces margin challenges in an extremely competitive aerial environment. So let's go into that a little bit. The first thing GoPro mentions is margin challenges. Now, what I think is that Karma is actually a very good deal. So it's $800 and you get the Karma grip stabilizer, you get the drone, you get a case, and in my opinion, that's all great. You don't get a GoPro, you need one of those. Or now they have the deal where you get a Hero 6 for $200 more. So for $999, you get all of what I mentioned before, plus the Hero 6, and I think that both of those are a really good deal. Now, margin challenges means that they're not making enough profit off of those, which is really what it comes down to at the end of the day. This is a shareholders' quarterly press release, so of course that would be the first thing they bring up. Now, when you look at a company like DJI, and they have so many different drones. They have basically toy drones, like the Spark high-end toy drones, and then it goes to Mavic, to some of these really advanced drones that can fly in the rain, can fly near electric lines, and can support all sorts of tasks in water fields. So DJI isn't just like a Phantom and Mavic Pro company. They address a huge amount of the drone industry, and there are other drone companies that are sort of getting to that sort of expansion plan too, but GoPro, they're an action camera company, and so it doesn't make sense for them to go into those spaces. And the thing is, with DJI and those other companies, they can share resources. So the resources that are used to make and design controllers and light bridge and all sorts of the different technology cameras, they can share that. And so when you go and you build the next drone, you don't have to redo everything. When you go from a Phantom 4 to a Phantom 4 Pro, you can tweak things and just make them more pro. But with GoPro, the Karma is their first drone, and they're probably not. They can't really be a drone company. If they're an action camera, they would have to start building drones that water crops or spray crops. It doesn't make sense for them. And so what that means is their market and their margins becomes much smaller. So they have to compete on price, but they have to do it with less profit. The next thing they address is regulatory challenges. Now, this is interesting because in the United States, a lot of people complain about how the United States has the toughest laws, or the most strict, or they're just completely ridiculous. Yes, some of them are ridiculous. A lot of them are ridiculous. But even in the United States, we have much better drone laws than a lot of other countries. Some of them, it's basically impossible to fly a drone. And so GoPro is a global market, and I was really hoping that when GoPro released and announced and did all their stuff with Karma and getting into the drone business, I would hope they would lobby, like DJI and other companies, for the consumer, or for the industry rather, so that they can grow their market. I guess that's something GoPro wasn't really interested in doing. The Karma grip, though, I'm going to get into my opinion on all of this now. I understand why they're canceling the drone business, and I guess I'll agree with them They're probably not making a whole lot of money. They're probably losing money on it. But the Karma Grip, I think, is the greatest GoPro product ever made. This is, in my opinion, the best stabilizer on the market. It doesn't have the most features, but it just works. It's rugged. It's got the best build quality. It's reliable. And I just like this the best out of any other stabilizer I've ever used. I think it's much better than the Osmo. I know some people are not going to like that because the Osmo has more features. But as far as reliability, performance, and everything, this is a great product, and I hope they continue to sell the grip. I really thought that, speaking of obsolete, I really thought that the Karma Grip would, let's turn that off. I really thought that the Karma Drone would be a product that GoPro could launch the V1, the first version that they did, and make whatever changes in software, improve the user experience, and then take what they learned from that and make a version 2. And the original Karma, I thought, was a great value, but it was missing a lot. And I was really looking forward to Karma 2 with ground sensing, like every other DJI drone has at this point. Really critical thing, but that one sensor would really change the experience. So when you lose GPS, the thing just isn't flying away. It's much more stable. Just one minor change like that would have really made the product better. And then, of course, obstacle avoidance, maybe redesigning the thing. All those things would have made it better in a version 2. So I was really looking forward to seeing how they would incorporate those. And I guess the answer is they never will, and they're done. Let me pull out the Karma and put the iPad over here. You notice drones are getting a lot smaller now. This is a big drone as far as footprint is. It folds up, it gets a little smaller. But what GoPro is doing is they're putting the GoPro camera in the air. And so this camera has a lot of stuff that you don't need to have in the air. It's got a screen, it's got its own battery, it's got another display right here, it's got buttons. All of that adds weight. But they have to be able to lift it all in the air because, of course, you can't take your GoPro apart. Now, what that means is you need a big drone to do it. You can't just put a GoPro on a DJI Spark type drone and expect that to fly at least as well as this does, and probably at all. So they need a big drone like this. And drones are getting smaller and smaller. We saw Phantom, and then that immediately became, not immediately, but it became Mavic, and now Mavic becomes Spark, and then the Spark will probably get foldable and become smaller. So what I'm saying here is, if you look into the future and you say, what could they do to this? Well, they could make it smaller, and that will be a thing that would have to happen with this. That would be an extremely tough challenge. Now, I love that this has innovations that other drones don't have. The way that you can mount an action camera on this thing, the stabilizer, I think, is way better than other gimbals and other stabilizers. And I love that it's in the front, so I don't have to see that shadow that you sometimes see when you're flying a Phantom or something like that. And this is really smooth. You can see it's got a little shock absorber type thing there, and it's got a nice cinematic flying experience where it sort of pans really smoothly. So I love those things about this, and I hope another company starts to incorporate them. They don't have to, though, because now there's no competition. But there are innovations in this that I do hope at some point make it somewhere else. So that's where I'm going to end this video. Let me know your thoughts on what you think of GoPro's move. Do you think it's the right decision? Do you think it's the wrong decision? Do you hope they keep selling the grip? Do you wish they just get rid of anything that ever had the name Karma? Let me know, and I'll see you in the next video.